I am bad at everything.
You're not. Don't be an asshole.
There's something in the air.
Welcome to another episode of There's Something in the Air, a Wynonna Earp podcast that Opal's already crashing. What are you doing?
It's filled with spoilers.
It's spoiler filled.
In case this is your very first episode, I really hope it isn't. If this is, please stop and go back to one of the earlier ones.
Normally BP is here to do this introduction thing that Monica and I are so clearly not qualified to do.
True.
I started talking and Opal literally jumped up on the desk. So yeah, BP's not here. She got kidnapped by the cast of the Hundy, and is in Vancouver right now.
She was going to call in, and unfortunately right before she went to the con, she got sick, and she said she barely has a voice. So she's not really, like, her calling in to say anything wouldn't really be helpful at all.
But
So
she
that's
wishes
fine.
she could be here.
She does. I think she saw some of the questions and wished that she could answer some of them. Some of them we will leave for her, like the big, huge theme questions, and also any that feature Kirsten. We will definitely leave those for her to answer on.
We've been prohibited from talking about Kirsten without BP, so if you ask that question, sorry. Why don't we just jump right in? Monica, pick a question.
Okay, this is from Bridget Leszewski, who is Bridget on TV, who you may know. What is one thing you love about Wynonna Earp that you wish other TV shows did? I told her on Twitter that my answer was Danny fucking Kind. I really like Danny Kind this season, on season 2, as Mercedes, and as Widow Mercedes, and as White Witch Widow Mercedes. All three of them were great. But I think probably my favorite thing about Wynonna Earp is how they interact with and treat their fans. From their interaction on Twitter to how they treat us at conventions, and how they hear objections that we make, or criticisms that we make, or fears that we have, and they respond positively and supportively. Like, obviously it's their show. It's their story to tell. They're not going to let, me sitting at my laptop in Pittsburgh be like, no, I think this should happen. But I feel like we're really heard and appreciated, and I don't think that happens with very many other fandoms or shows.
I completely agree with you. I think the way that the cast interacts with the fans is like the best part of the show by far.
One of my other favorite things that the show does is its treatment of women, both in its female characters, which I don't really think I need to expand upon. I think if you watch the show, you know how it treats its female characters. But also with a female showrunner, they just promoted a woman as, I believe, the first assistant director. They promoted her from within. Emily Andrus said that they're trying to put their money where their mouth is. They say they want, women taking charge, and they're promoting women in their show. And I mean, that's who does that? You realize that there's an issue and you take steps to better it. And I don't think that you can really ask for any more.
Agreed.
Okay, this is going to be a short podcast.
I mean, you pretty much covered it. There isn't really much more to say.
I'm super good at talking about ladies. Okay, you can pick one. I will highlight this.
Okay, here's one. You're stranded on a desert island. Which cast member do you want to be stranded with? Melanie Scrofano.
Emily Andrus.
Is she really a cast member?
I mean, she made the show. Fine.
Melanie Scrofano is the correct answer.
It's the correct answer for you.
Like, you would never be bored. You would, you'd be, stranded on a desert island, but I feel like I wouldn't actually care all that much because I'd have Melanie Scrofano there.
I think my answers would be either Tim or Danny Kind, just because, again, I think that we would be super entertained. Also, Tim, with all his years in the restaurant business, I'm sure could, figure something out to eat from whatever is available on that desert island. So we would be set. Like, we're here to rescue you. No, can you come back tomorrow? Like, tonight is this special.
I mean, Danny fucking Kind is a pretty good second
Yes.
choice.
Okay, we had a special question that someone asked me to ask Michelle, and this is from @CJekyll on Twitter. Her name is Christina. And she wanted me to ask you, who is your favorite person who has visited you in Iowa recently, and which leftovers in the past 2 years that someone has given you have been your favorite?
Let's see. How many people have visited me in Iowa intentionally? Not many. How many made a pit stop on their road trip across the country because it happened to be convenient? That would be your wife.
That would be. So my wife was like, oh, I wanted to write in and ask this question. I'm like, I'll ask her. I don't mind. My wife was driving across the country with her cousin, who's a travel nurse. They were going from Pittsburgh to Mesa, Arizona. And so their first stop was near where Michelle lives in Iowa. And so they met for dinner and they hung out without me. I was very sad. I was a little bit jealous.
A little bit?
A little bit. And Chris gave Michelle her leftovers, which she also did at Klexicon, I think. Michelle got all of the leftovers when we all hung out.
I'm trying to remember what the leftovers were in Klexicon.
I think there was pizza and no, they were wings, I think.
I think it was wings. Yeah, either way, what we got at, we went to Chili's. It was like mini chicken and waffles with like maple syrup on them. And they were
She keeps
so
talking
good.
about how good they are.
They were so good. I highly recommend you go to Chili's and have those. Like, I ate them for breakfast the next day, and like the day just started on such a great note. As soon as I walked into my office, it was horrible, but
as per usual for both of us.
Thanks for that question, Chris. You are my favorite person who's visited.
Not Amber? I guess she would have had to actually. Her cousin was busy on her phone.
All right, here's a good question. Because it doesn't really apply to me nearly as much as it does to you. Why do lesbians swoon over Doc Holliday?
I think it's his wardrobe.
Really, that's it? Like, that's the sole reason that everybody... Like, I love his wardrobe, but I don't, like, lose my mind over Doc Holliday.
He's very handsome. He's very charming. I think as a character, he is a male character who doesn't try and... I don't know, to reference another show that we watch, he doesn't try to Mon-El the situation up. He doesn't try to go in and tell Wynonna that she's wrong and she's going to get hurt and she needs to take care of herself. He realizes that Wynonna is a strong character. He lets her do what she needs to do, and he's supportive without being overbearing.
Did you just mention that fucking soggy Trisket on this podcast?
So sorry. So sorry.
We're cutting out that entire answer.
That was such a good answer.
We're not actually going to cut it out. And by we, I mean I'm not going to go through the trouble of cutting it out, so you're fine.
Right. Michelle is editing our podcast this week.
Apologies in advance for the questionable quality. So somebody went and asked why Opal didn't have her own mic. Because that would be expensive. And also, how do you, like, get a dog to, like, talk into a mic?
I also think she thinks the mic is hers.
Yeah, and I think that she thinks my mic is on loan from her, because the number of times she's, like, jumped up in the past few weeks and tried to knock it off the desk is alarming. Opal, you want to say hi? No? Okay. When she has the mic, she doesn't use it. It's only when I'm talking that she feels the need to shout in the background.
We had some questions about Nicole Hott's character from several people. I'll just leave it at that. And a lot of them were Way Hot specific questions. And like, what do you think is going to happen with Nicole's backstory? What do you think is going to happen with Way Hot as a couple? What do you want to see for Nicole in season 3? I think I hit them all, and I apologize that I'm not mentioning you who asked them by name, but it is because I'm really bad at Google Drive, apparently, and did not add the questions correctly. So I just wanted to take a minute and answer that question. I am more invested in Nicole Hott as a character than Nicole Hott as part of a relationship. I think one of the things that Wynonna Earp has tried to do with her, as opposed to, for example, Tara on Buffy, is to make her her own person and not just Waverly's girlfriend. So the thing I'm looking forward to with her character in season 3 is to see her grow more as a character. especially with regards to the cult of Bolshar. I'm excited to see what's going on with her and dolls about that. And to see her, more of her friendship with Wynonna and, with everyone, with I love her on screen with Doc. I think she and Jeremy would be hilarious together. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing her grow more as a character. And I think that is one thing that they have really tried to do, as opposed to just part of a, as opposed to just Waverly's girlfriend.
Yeah, the great thing the show does is, like, outside of Way Hot, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
but the bigger thing is, like, character development for, I think, everybody on this podcast, is that they made a point of giving her, outside of her relationship, a character arc in season 2.
Yes.
That, like, she might not be one of the, like, primary characters, but she's not your stereotypical significant other. Like, she actually has her own character, and her, like, world doesn't revolve solely around Waverly, which is really refreshing to see on TV.
Yes, and there's no question that she obviously she loves Waverly. You can tell, but she has other stuff going on, and I really dig that. I'm gonna take. Oh wait, I just asked that question, so it's your turn now. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to take over this podcast. Nothing unusual here. But I agree. I mean, I also love Way Hot as I sit here sipping out of my Way Hot coffee mug. I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry, Michelle, go ahead. This is going off the rails sooner than I expected.
All right, so here's another question. What other shows do you feel have the found family aspect? Looking for another show like that, and they list a bunch that they already know of, and I don't know of a show that's not listed in that. They said POI, Warehouse 13, Haven, Wynonna Earp, Buffy, Firefly, Lost Girl, and Dark Matter. So Monica, what's another show?
You've named all of the shows. I'm only 4 or 5 episodes in, but I'm guessing Legends of Tomorrow really revolves around its own fucked up, maybe, but found family.
Extremely dysfunctional, yeah.
Extremely dysfunctional and highly entertaining.
Even the Hundy is about found family. If you think about the premise of it, like right off the start, like it has to be about found family. Granted, it's a highly dysfunctional family that loses people a lot, but it's a family nonetheless.
I think too that Supergirl really falls into that. I mean, it's a problematic show. Certainly.
Space Dad.
Just like the Hundy. But even the two sisters, Kara and Alex, they're adopted. And they don't it's not just biological family. The Danvers literally found Kara. Sorry. I'm exhausted.
It's a literal found family.
Literal found family. Buffy, I know it was mentioned, but Buffy and Firefly are the two that really always come to mind with that. I think of that episode. I think it's called Family in season 5, where Tara's god awful brother and dad and cousin Beth, Amy Adams, find her, and because she's about to turn demon, and everyone, they don't get Tara at all. And quite honestly, upon a couple of rewatches, I'm like, yeah, I get it. She was not a great character until after she broke up with Willow. Then she started to get interesting, and I think of that, like, her dad is like, well, we're her kin, and who are you? And Buffy says, we're her family. Amanda, who is at Mad Hatter on Twitter, sent in 10 excellent questions, and we should probably just make this a podcast of its own. But one of them, the last one, is, what is your favorite hat? And I have a hat that my wife made me that looks like red and black buffalo plaid, and I love it very much. I wore it to Klexicon last year with my matching shirt. Yeah, because I'm a giant dork, and I don't even care. I love that hat. That's my favorite hat.
My favorite hat is the Simulation Sucks hat that I ordered for myself. It's a snapback. I wear it all the time. It's by far the best thing I've spent way too much money on.
Do you wear hats to work?
I can't, like, in the office.
Right. I meant that's what I meant. I didn't know.
I mean, actually, like, when you go out into the lab, you have to like wear a hat with like it's like a bump cap. It has like a plastic insert so that if you like bump your head, they're like not liable for your concussion, even though it would do nothing to protect you from anything. It's like a really flimsy piece of plastic. But everybody wears like the hats they buy from the company store. So I would feel very odd. But so I wear a hat at work. It's just not one that I actually like.
So work is is that the only place that you don't wear a hat? Because multiple people have said this too. Like at Dragon Con, you took off your hat, like it kind of became a joke, but there were a couple times I looked at you and was like, oh, where's Michelle?
Like when I took my hat off for 2 seconds and Heidi turned around and I was 2 feet behind her and she couldn't find me. I mean, I don't usually wear a hat when I work out, but other than that, yeah. I really like hats, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
I have a really great one for my favorite murder weekend. It's the toxic masculinity hat.
Oh, did you get one?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm a little jealous.
I'm excited. Although when I put on a hat, I immediately look like a dude. So people are going to be really confused. Like, what's that guy wearing a hat about toxic masculinity? I guess he's just. And
I believe that would be the effect of toxic masculinity.
That's correct. And we've come full circle.
Meta as fuck.
Yeah.
Are there any other of Amanda's questions you want to cover?
We can cover as many of them as you want to. I can't answer any ones that reference the 100.
The Hundy. Say it right.
I'm so sorry. See? You've just proven my point.
My God, some of these questions are super hard.
I know. Some of them, Amanda, I'm sorry. Some of them are going to take some homework.
Like, what's one song you associate with each show that wasn't already used in the show for Person of Interest, Wynonna Earp and the Hundy? Like, loaded question.
Maybe Wynonna Earp, bad reputation. Joan Jett's bad reputation. I don't give a damn about my bad reputation. I think that's pretty screams Wynonna. Person of Interest, I'd have to think about it. I only watched it once, and it was last year. So sorry. Favorite television show that isn't The Hundy, Person of Interest, or Wynonna Earp? My answers are Buffy and Parks and Rec.
I feel like my answers are going to get me, like, in trouble.
Why?
Because one of them is Pretty Little Liars, and I feel like that's a really not popular opinion.
I mean, I think we're not afraid of unpopular opinions on this show. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has an opinion, and, it's just as valid as everyone else's.
I love Pretty Little Liars a lot. It's embarrassing. Even when it got bad.
What do you look forward to the most at conventions? For me, it's hanging out with other people. I've said before, and I'm very lucky. I am married, and Chris is wonderful and very supportive of all of my fandom interests. She doesn't have the same interests, so it's really cool to be around people who do. Klexicon especially was really great, just being around so many queer women, and also, Graham? Sorry, my cat just bit me. And also allies and people who support queer women. Just being in such a positive environment around so many people who were like me was amazing. And Chris, who isn't a super into fandom stuff, when we talked about going this year, and I was like, well, if you don't want to go, you don't have to, because I know that cons aren't really her jam. And she was like, oh no, but I like that one. It's just, I don't know, it's just a really great environment, and I like being around friends and people who are like me.
My answer is slightly different, just in prioritization. She just punched me. The number one thing that, if it's offered at a con, I lose my mind over is if Amy Acker is there. Number one, anybody who was at New York Comic Con with me can attest to that. And then two, hanging out with like fandom people, because that's tons of fun. Everything that you said, I just have one thing that's a higher priority.
That's fair. I mean, we all have our people that we lose our mind over. At Dragon Con, they announced someone for Klexicon, and I had to take a minute.
You left.
I did. I was eating about to eat a Larabar or something, and they announced it, and I saw it, and I dropped it on the ground. stood up and was like, I need a minute. Just
And
got
literally
up.
left.
Everyone was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, and I explained to you, like, do you remember how you felt when Amy Acker was announced for this con? And you were like, oh, okay, I understand. Do you need longer?
You actually recovered rather quickly, because when they announced Amy Acker for Klexicon last year, I had to like go sit in my car at work.
I'll be honest, like, I'm thinking about her being at this con in April, and I don't think I can do a photo op or an autograph. Like, I don't think I can meet her. Like, I don't think I can do it.
Can.
No, I don't think so.
You totally can. If I could,
Michelle, I'm starting to have trouble breathing thinking about it, and I'm getting nauseous.
if I could recover after my epic fail with Natasha Negavanlis, you can totally do this.
That was such a great story. I should retweet that story to get it more visibility.
Oh, jeez. And next question.
Next question. You know what? I think for both of us, by the way, for favorite television show, I think Carmilla's probably pretty high on the list.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not it, as a show, as the people behind it, as you know, the actors in it, the fact that so many of them are queer, and the lead is queer and out and proud and loud about it.
Really attractive.
Extremely attractive and so nice. So nice. Like, they were both so nice. It just, I don't know, like, not just the show and the storylines and stuff, but what it stands for and what it is and the stand that it takes. I don't know. I think that's really important. So yes, we can move on to another question.
Okay. This is like the easiest question ever. If the Hundy, POI, and Wynonna Earp were in a battle, who would win and why? Person of interest. No explanation needed.
Well, like, as shows, or the characters from each show?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like,
I don't feel like I can answer this question. Again, because it references the Hundy.
Okay, just pick between person of interest and Wynonna Earp. Pick your answer carefully.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to decline to answer because I like the fact that we're friends and we're seeing each other in 2 weeks.
Shit, is it 2 weeks? I'm so bad at planning trips. But
it is. Well, whatever. It's fine. You have a place to stay. You just need to get there.
I'll figure it out.
I know. You always do. I
always manage to show up where I'm supposed to be. It just sometimes takes me a while.
I'm envisioning, like, us showing up in some sort of caravan to pick you up at the airport. But I'm assuming none of our cars hold 6 people, so I don't think that's going to work. I don't think we all can do that.
There are so many person of interest questions on Amanda's list. I think she might be my favorite.
Yes.
It's your turn to pick a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is from Hots Cuffs on Twitter. A cataclysmic event befalls the planet, and you only have time to preserve a single episode of Wynonna Earp to take with you into the fallout shelter to watch for the rest of your life. What episode do you pick, and why? The season 2 finale. Because it's amazing. It's so good.
This is also a really, like, not fair question.
It's not a fair question at all. Because, honestly, I think it's like when someone asks who your favorite character pairing is on Wynonna Earp, and my answer is whoever's on screen at the time. Like, it's whatever episode I'm watching at the time, for the most part.
The season 2 finale is awesome.
It really is.
And this is a tough answer for me because, like, Melanie Scrofano's not really in the episode, but the alternate universe episode is so good.
It is really good.
I have watched it so many times. I love it so much.
I think any episode would be fine. Because from season 1, the Blade is so good.
Oh my god, I love that one too.
I just you can't really go wrong.
You'd realize you could list any episode name and I would just say, oh my god, I love that one too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, here's one. Could vampires exist in purgatory, and how many Buffy-related puns would Wynonna rattle off throughout such an episode?
I hope we do see vampires in purgatory, because we've seen it's not just revenants that we've seen. We've seen succubi, so I don't think that vampires are out of the question. A lot of Buffy-related puns.
For some reason, I don't know why, because I read a fanfic that was Carmilla and Wynonna Earp like smushed together,
Yeah.
and in my head, I for some reason thought that was canon, and I was like, they were already there. Oh boy, it's been a long day. It's 10 a.m.
I think they could exist, and yeah, she would have a lot of Buffy-related puns. And I think that Waverly would tease her about watching Buffy, and Wynonna would be like, "Whatever, it was you were watching it, so it was on." But secretly, she loves it. That's what I think. This is from Kevin from the Wynonna Earp podcast, Tales of the Black Badge. Why are you doing a podcast about Wynonna Earp instead of other shows you love? What makes this show so special? And I think that the answers that we've given for other questions really answer this one. How the cast and crew make us feel, the empowering women behind the scenes and in front of the camera, and the characters that are written. I think for some reason that I've tried to articulate in the last 2 years, this show has just really spoken to me. Wynonna and everyone, every character on the show in their own way, feels like an outsider. And I've just felt that way my entire life. And to find a whole group of outsiders who are like, oh, hey. And so many of us are queer women. Not all of us. And, it doesn't, not that matters. But it is just, queer women who like nerdy stuff. Like, those are my people. I really appreciate that. And the show just speaks to me for, all of the reasons. And I really like the people in real life that I've met through it. BP and Michelle and I just really kind of hit it off. And we like talking to each other, and we like talking about this. So that's why we're doing a podcast about Wynonna Earp, because I haven't watched The Hundy. And BP hadn't watched Person of Interest.
I would do a podcast on other shows, but I don't think anyone would let me.
You can do what you want. You can just get on there and ramble. At least you'd have probably at least 3 listeners. I'm so supportive of you.
Better wording. I don't think anyone wants to listen to me doing a solo podcast on any other shows. Because we all know what the 2 options would be, and I can't speak by myself about those, because it will just be either hours of me ranting about Clark Griffin or hours of me ranting about Root.
That's fair.
No one there to rein me in.
Kevin also asked what we thought the most shocking and surprising moments so far were. I think for me, it was Rosita being a revenant and then turning on Wynonna.
I don't think the turning on Wynonna was super shocking for me. I think the most shocking thing was finding out that Wynonna was pregnant.
Yes.
Because, amazingly well-kept secret. How do you hide a pregnancy in an actress? Don't have her, be online or, go to cons or do anything. And it was also, that's, the last thing I expected a show to do. Because normally you have, the person with, the big bouquet of flowers covering their stomach.
Let me put Peacemaker in this giant handbag.
She just starts doing laundry all the time.
Right.
So I think that was the most shocking thing for me, just because, honestly, when was the last time a show did that?
Also, I would like to say that Michelle gave the right answer, and my answer would probably be the second most shocking. I mean, they're all up there, but that you're right. That was pretty surprising.
Another shocking one is when Waverly just went and fucking touched the goo. He never touched the goo.
That's also true. And when Doc lost his hat, I was very surprised that he didn't have a hat for a few episodes. I would not call this a most surprising moment, but I loved how Perry kept showing up in season 2. You just assume that he's, this one-off character that you see in the episode that he was in at first, and then he just keeps randomly showing up, and I thought that was kind of cool. Every time, at the end of the finale, when it's him in the helicopter, I was pretty surprised.
When they said that Baby Earp was going to Gus,
Yes.
I like fell out of my chair.
They
didn't
said
forget
that.
she exists.
They said that, and I look up and I see Bridget staring at me like she wanted to see my reaction to that, which was hilarious and fair. Like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what? Because I think I had said something about Gus earlier in the evening, too, and she's probably just, like, chortling to herself, like, oh, just you wait.
Go ahead and pick another question.
Just pick 2. All right, I'm going to pick one for you to answer. Root Clark Grip. This is from Sally at SHeaven on Twitter. Half of Fangirl Shirts. Root, Clark Griffin, and Nicole Hott walk into a bar. What happens next?
My heart explodes.
And a lot of drinking happens.
I can't even imagine what that would be like. I feel like Nicole would be really thrown off by like Root and Clark. I mean, they're both technically like Root's. I mean, she doesn't exactly follow rules, and Clark Griffin is really good at killing people. So, like, Nicole's a cop.
But she also deals with Wynonna, who's, a handful.
That's true. The only thing that I can be sure of if that happened would be that I would die.
That is sad. All right.
like I couldn't handle it. It would be too much.
This is from Hotbreaker Nick on Twitter. In an epic game of Red Rover, you've joined the Wynonna Earp characters against all characters from the Hundy, POI, and Buffy. Who would be the first person you choose from the opposing team to run over, and why? I would choose Willow Rosenberg, and then we would stop playing and we would go hang out and talk.
So, in an epic game of Red Rover, this is also, like, really embarrassing, but, like, I don't even remember how you play Red Rover.
Yeah, I was Googling the instructions while you answered while you answered the last question. The game is between 2 lines of players. The game starts when the first team calls out. The immediate goal for the person is to run to the other line and break the other team's chain. If they fail to break the chain, they join that team. If they do break the chain, they select either of the 2 people they've broken back to their team. Okay,
so you want to break the chain with people that you like.
But then,
or people that you don't like.
Right, because if you chose Buffy, if you chose Buffy, she'd immediately pulverize the chain and everyone would be dead. So she'd be the best player to have on your team, but I don't think you could fight against her. I don't think you could
break the chain.
Yeah, I think she could break the chain. I think she could break your chain.
Right. But you'd just run into, like, a brick wall. I mean, like, in an ideal world where, like, I don't think I'd be able to break through this, like, link, but if, like, Clark and Root were standing next to each other, that's where I'd, like, zone in. I would fail miserably. But, like, the one link that I know that I could break for sure, but I wouldn't want either of them on my team, was if Beach Ball Blake and Harold and his fucking glasses were linked. I'd blast right through that.
I'm going to ask you another question from Amanda. If there is one character you don't like on Person of Interest, who is it and why?
This is a very difficult question.
Is it?
No, it's Harold and his fucking glasses.
All right, great.
Do I need to explain why?
I think that you have in the last 10 podcasts that we've done.
I've actually been having an ongoing debate about, like, whether Harold sucks or not. I'm firmly in the Harold sucks camp. My friend doesn't think he sucks, and so multiple times a week I have a debate about it.
Your friend sounds horrible.
Yeah,
at least in that one respect. She's just wrong.
She is wrong. She also does not like the iron and zip tie scene, but that's another discussion.
That is another discussion. That is not podcast appropriate.
Nope.
Can have that later.
I'm just gonna, like, Harold got Root killed, but that's not even the reason because Root's alive. It's because he fucking wouldn't change. He would not adapt to situations.
And he was responsible for so much of the bad stuff, and he got his happy ending.
Yeah. He should have gotten blown up.
Yes.
They also, he should have allowed them to kill the senator because then we wouldn't have had any issues. B, he played God with the machine, like, talking about how, like, it was a god he needed to, like, rein it in, but he played God over it, lording over it, and giving it all these restrictions when the world was literally ending.
You can't play God with God.
Quote unquote death of his friend for him to realize that he should maybe pull his head out of his ass. I'm going to stop there because I could go on for hours and I feel like nobody needs that.
That's just a different podcast.
That's that one that nobody would listen to.
Docstash said, just talk about Doc's mustache. Easy 30 minutes filled right there. Done and done. And the lack of hair. I think that helps answer your question about why all of this is true, I think. And that's part of the reason why lesbians love Doc Holliday. So thank you for that, Docstash. But there wasn't actually a question in there. And we did manage to find other stuff to talk about for quite a long time.
Go. Like all the obsession with Doc and his mustache, like I get it, but I don't get it.
At Sherpa Girl says, do you have any thoughts on there being 3 Wynonna-specific cons? I mean, I am new, but this is epic.
We're all in a cult, and we should probably call some sort of parental figure.
I like your changed phrasing on that. There are some shows that spark that much interest. I don't know if it's, within 2 seasons. Supernatural has conventions all over the damn place.
There's a Con of Thrones.
There are how many Star Trek conventions? That's something that's been on the air for dozens of years. I just think, I don't want to repeat myself, but how the show spoke to us, it spoke to a lot of people that way, and we kind of just want to be around each other. And we know that when we go, we're not going to be faced with actors and writers and everything who treat us like we're an annoyance. They treat us like, we're a gift. And that means a lot.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, there are plenty of shows that have insane, obsessive cult followings, like Wynonna Earp. But I think the difference is that the cast is so available and like willing to like be around fans that having a convention isn't just like a big group hang. There's like actual, like you can have actual like panels and events and stuff, so it can actually be a convention instead of just like an Earper meetup. I think that's the difference, that like we have access to the people who make the show.
That's a good point.
So why wouldn't we take advantage of that and have like all of the conventions?
Yes. And they're fun. I mean, hopefully I haven't been to a Wynonna Earp convention yet, but
wasn't Dragon Con pretty much a Wynonna Earp convention?
And Klexicon, quite honestly. The cons that I've been to have really kind of been like mini Wynonna Earp conventions, because that was sort of especially Dragon Con, that was like the only stuff I did, and I regret nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, like at Dragon Con, I went to like every single Wynonna Earp panel, a person of interest panel, a Hundy panel, and a Buffy panel. I think I sense a theme.
At Earpnado, who I've met, and I think her name is Liz. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. I think I told you that from the beginning. But she's a Pittsburgh Earper. She's very nice. Asked a question about the Spice Girls, and I've never seen the movie, and I'm not super familiar with the Spice Girls, so I don't feel qualified to answer this question. So I think maybe when we do another Q&A, we'll put this out to our listeners and let them answer it. I think that'll be good.
Is this about the movie?
It's, I guess not.
Maybe we should just skip this.
Yeah. I just don't feel qualified to answer anything super in-depth about the Spice Girls.
I think that both of us are going to like get kicked out of some sort of club if we try to answer this. So we're just going to leave that one out.
Yeah. Melissa at Earper for Life asked a question that I think would make a really great wrap up after we finish season 2, which is predictions for season 3, what characters will return and what storylines do you think will happen. So I think that's a great question, but I think that I would like all of us to be able to answer that one.
Yeah, I also don't think we're going to be done with season 2 before we hit season 3.
That's I mean, I don't think I know. That's all right. Maybe we'll be done with season 1.
Maybe we'll do a minisode right before season 3 premieres.
Yeah. And Amanda asked a lot of other great questions, but I think we're going to have to leave them for another one. I think so many of them, BP would be, like, these are more BP and you related questions.
They're about the Hundy and
yeah,
person of interest.
Yeah.
Which, like, BP has been kidnapped by the cast of the Hundy this weekend, so I think that she might have a few opinions.
It's very sad, and you are so missed, BP, if you are listening. You better be listening. I think that's all that we have today. Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, if you made it to the end of this train wreck, thank you. And congratulations.
Yes. Something new that we started recently was we now have a Patreon page. We aren't. I did a blog post about this, and just to be clear, we aren't trying to make money from this, but we're just trying to cover the costs associated with the podcast through the website and the podcast hosting and stuff like that. So if you're interested in checking out our Patreon page, you should do that. And
you should go to earpsplainpod.com, and then on the left-hand side, there's a become a patron button, and there's also a donate button. If using PayPal is easier, you can BP.
You can make a one-time donation or also set up a recurring donation. And if you do the recurring donation, you are eligible to get the same reward structure that we have for Patreon.
Yeah, it's just if that platform is easier for you for some reason, right? That's there.
And we have some fun rewards, everything from a shout out on Twitter to a Purgatory Drinker book to extra podcasts and articles and blog posts and stuff. So if you're able to contribute anything, we would really appreciate it. We really like doing this. So anything you can do to help us continue would be awesome. So if you have anything you want to say about this episode, you can tweet at or DM us at earpsplainpod. You can leave us a voicemail at BP, we miss you again. So I had to look up the outro.
Hold on, I have it.
No, I have it. I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay. Okay, you have it. Well, look at that. We're so prepared.
We're so prepared. But of course, I had to call myself out on it. You can leave us a voicemail at 678-871-0098, or you can email us at somethingintheair.com. At somethingintheair@gmail.com. And you can find all of this contact info on our website, which is
earpsplainpod.com. On there, we have links to all of our episodes, minisodes, Monica's Earp reviews. There's a link to our store where you can buy some awesome merch. I think that BP put up a My Favorite Murder themed shirt. So go check that out. You can reach me on Twitter at McNick1291.
You can find me, Monica, at Lesbianzer, LESBIYINZER.
And you can yell at BP for missing this episode on Twitter at Beep33TV.
Or at her other one.
Earp Your Fandom, is that it?
I think.
Maybe?
Yes, at Earp Your Fandom.
I'm not editing any of this out.
I know. Oh, I know. I don't know that any of it. I think you're going to listen to it and be like, good enough. Another thing you could do to help us out, if you like this podcast, you can rate and review it on iTunes. You can also subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. It helps people find our podcast so we can have, more of an audience, which is always helpful.
Do we do it?
I believe we did it. Thanks everyone so much for listening. And remember, it may be a shit show, but it's our shit show.